Funding for the production of Folks is made possible in part by a grant from Union National Life Insurance, serving Louisiana and the South since 1926. A family-managed corporation providing whole life insurance.
Straight ahead on Folks, meet Dr. Adrienne Hoard, teacher and artist who uses color in a fascinating way. We'll also meet Baton Rouge blues musician Kenny Neal one-on-one and find out why he sings the blues. Lots of good music and art on today's edition of Folks. Hello everyone and welcome to Folks. I'm Sonya Masingale. Spring is in the air and the days are getting longer. The wildflowers are blooming on the side of the road, a harbinger of the lazy summer days to come. We decided to celebrate spring with a special edition of Folks, full of music and art. So let's get started. Our first story today is a profile of Adrienne Hoard, an artist and teacher at LSU here in Baton Rouge who is becoming known in the United States and Europe for her abstract paintings and their unique use of color.
Adrienne Hoard has found a way to merge two careers. She is a successful artist and teacher. She began her academic studies in psychology and has found another winning combination, psychology and art.
When I went to college, when I first started out at Northwestern, I was a major in psychology because I was very interested in psychology, and that had been my father's field. So I thought, that's for me. But it was experimental psychology with rats and rabbits and electrodes, and I just couldn't put those electrodes in those little animals, so I found myself spending more and more time in my art labs. I had art classes in the afternoon, and eventually decided that that's what I really wanted to do.
Hoard has traveled all over the world studying art and demonstrating her own unique techniques. She is known in artistic circles for her abstract paintings.
The work is twofold. There are the free-form shaped canvases, like the one here behind me. Those are constructed. The images come to me. I think about the shape, the parameter of the painting, as well as the internal images. And they take anywhere from 3 weeks to 6 weeks to build and stretch and then begin working on. So I kind of have to hold that image very long in terms of the working on it. Whereas with the oil pastel watercolors, those are done on paper and are much more immediate. That's a kind of expression that I can begin working on and maybe be finished in 3 or 4 weeks.
One of Hoard's series of paintings utilizes shaped canvases that impart a sense of movement.
This particular shape is from 1976. I was doing a series of paintings for underwater creatures, and this is the magnificent octopus, and it's called Octomag 1. And I had the manta and the large sea lions and whales, all in that series between 76 and 78. So just the movement, these are like free form, free movement. I'm capturing a moment in time. At that second, this configuration appears. And 3 seconds later, things have reorganized and changed and moved on. And so I'm trying to capture that second and hold it in color on canvas.
Hoard's use of color is a major part of the appeal of her paintings. She uses color to convey a particular mood to the viewer. Of course, the way each person perceives color is different, so her paintings can instill as many different moods as there are colors.
Color, as we know, is a phenomena. No two colors are really perceived the same unless they have the same surround or the same colors next to them or surrounding them. So I'm hoping that the color combinations are giving them a peaceful or happy feeling just because of the vibrations of the combinations that I've used. The titles, I think, have helped them. With the oil pastels, each of the small paintings has a vignette or a story that goes with it. And when I exhibit them, I normally have the vignette there so that people in walking by can read the story about the piece and kind of get into the emotion of the piece. The work is all very personal and very emotional, and so they need some description or some adjectives or phrases to go along with it to kind of imply what I was thinking. They form a triangle. Well, I'm finding that people who have art training tend to use it. They rely on their art training to tell them what's going on in that painting. And people who do not have art training are giving more of a gut response, and their answers have more associations to real life meanings, as opposed to, say, an art-trained person might look at the painting and say geometric or abstract or color field. They'd use terminology that they've learned, and they depend on their training, where a non-trained person is going to come in and say, I feel this way about it. It looks like color blobs to me. I like the movement in it. Or it looks like a color horizon. They associate it with more real-life meanings, more so than the person with training.
In her role as teacher, Hoard strives to expose her students to educational theories and techniques, as well as an appreciation for the aesthetics of art. She is finding her dual roles as a teacher and an artist, each enhancing the other.
I am an artist. I think artists are born. They can be trained, but I think the spirit or the creative entity is born. It's something that's with you, and you won't be happy doing or being anything else, even if it's not as a painter or a sculptor, but in your own creative expression, you must have that freedom to express, or your personality is altered, changed, stifled. I'm a teacher because I love my students, and the interaction in the classroom is very important to me. Some of the best experiences I've had in Louisiana have been through my students, their responses in class, and many have become good friends. I've watched them graduate and change their lives, and it's been very rewarding for me.
Hoard finds that as she matures as an artist, her work is becoming more expressive and emotional.
My undergraduate degree was predominantly in portraiture, and that's what I did all the way through undergraduate school. I won a lot of contests and had a lot of commissions, and my parents were very happy about, this talent. But when I got to graduate school and there were no longer any classes or models, you had a studio and you did your own work, I really wanted to explore abstraction. And once I started, I didn't want to go back because of the freedom, the personal freedom, and the freedom of expression. It's so personal and emotional, and yet still abstract. I can kind of get away with saying all these things and not be too revealed.
When you think of a blues musician, a gray-haired old gent usually comes to mind. But there's a whole new generation of blues musicians, at least there is in the Neal family of Baton Rouge. Kenny Neal is barely 30 years old, and he is determined to preserve the art form known as the blues for generations to come. We'd like for you to meet this fascinating musician one-on-one.
I got the blues tonight, y'all. I say I'm doing this for my dad and all y'all who's sharing it with me tonight. Let's go way back now. I'm going to do a little thing I wrote about 3 o'clock in the morning called Baby B. Now we're going to play the blues. We're going back down in there.
My dad started me out a long time ago. Probably before I was able to talk, he had me running around doing a dance called a Sputnik. You ever heard of that? Sputnik was the first man-made satellite they put out. And they had a dance called a Sputnik, and I was like about, 2 years old at the time, or less than 2, and I used to run around and do that and play the harmonica, and I was always around it. My dad, Kenny Neal, he started me out doing it. And then I got big enough to put my fingers on some keys, piano. We got our first piano from a church for about $25, $30. And I started to play Ray Charles. And ever since then, I mean, people come around the house, I guess, and cheer me on. So I just got really interested then. Okay, I got somebody watching.
So you started playing with your father's band at an early age. When did he start taking you out on engagements with him?
He used to sneak me in when I was about 6 years old, 7 years old.
And what did your mother have to say about you going in those smoky bars?
Bring that kid back. Don't keep him out there too long. You let him sing his 2 songs and get him back home.
But she really didn't mind.
Yeah, and sometimes I used to make more than the band because after I finished singing, we used to go around to all these tables and they go, come here, and they pinch me on my jaw and they end up giving me like, some people wanted to give me like 50 cents. And they said, no, give that kid $1. So when I get home and pull out my money, I had more than the band.
How did you make the decision to start your own band?
I think that came from way later in the years. In my teens, I started to just work behind my father, so my father kind of turned it over to me, and I was in charge of the band. And he gave me like all the hard work. I thought I was doing something great. I'm gonna take care of the band, and here I am, picking up all the musicians, loading up the equipment, and I just got right into it, and then I had a chance to play with Buddy Guy when I turned 17, and I moved up to Chicago, and they had tons of guys playing and singing and going to Europe and doing this and doing that. I said, wait a minute, I better grab a hold of this. So that's where I started to really want to be a front man and do my own thing after I moved off to Chicago.
And the rest of the family was supportive of this?
Yeah, oh yeah. They always been very supportive of what I mean, the whole family played too, so we always been around it.
What is the blues?
Blues is, well, it comes from being with doubt, which I haven't experienced much of that. I have been with doubt, but just come from way back in the days when it's 100 degrees outside, you got to go out there and pick 100 pounds of cotton. That's enough to sing something, I mean. But the blues come from just people, singing about hard times and what they've been through and trying to survive. And I think that was a good way for them to express themselves. In the evenings, they get on the front porch and get to singing these old blues about the hard times.
Okay.
And, boy, it's a whole bunch of things about the blues.
You say that you haven't really been without.
Yeah.
Why do you sing the blues?
Because I think I would really like to carry it on as a traditional thing and pass it on to the younger ones coming up under me, which I'm not that old, but I would like to keep it on because a lot of our old blues players, most of them is dying out, They're not here anymore. And a lot of the younger kids don't want to play it. They say, I don't want to play that old music. They get offended about it. I mean, they want to get out and do, which the top 40s and everything is real nice, but I think somebody needs to look into our traditional part of it as well and try and keep it going. That's why I'm so happy to see it's really working now. Like, the 80s have really brought it back a lot.
A lot of Black American musicians say that they feel more appreciated in Europe. Would you say that that's true in your case?
No, in my case, I mean, I'm right here at home, and I still have a lot of fans who really appreciate it. So I haven't experienced that much because I don't know if I have a way with people or the way I come across on stage, but I come right here at the Blues Festival downtown, and everybody's right there. I don't think the people in Europe could respond no better than they did out at the Blues Festival here. So maybe I might be a little lucky in that field.
Who do you think appreciates your music the most among your American audiences?
American? You speak in black and white or Chinese? All of them. Everybody like it. The old, the young, the black, the white. They all like it. I guess because I like to do a lot of I like to feel like I'm more with the audience than me being, you know, the performer on stage and here I am doing my thing. And not, I like to relate and let the audience feel a part of the show when I'm doing it. And I think they really can relate to it, you know. And that's where I think I come across.
What do you want them to get from your performance? What do you want
my record, go out and buy my album. That'd be real nice. Yeah.
You're a family man.
Yeah.
You are married with
Yeah.
children. How does being a family man affect your music, or the music affect your family life?
Never affected. It's, well, my kids was just down in Miami and Tampa and Orlando, and they love it to death. I think they're ready to go on the road. It's just too bad they're in school now. But it get kind of hard sometimes because you stay away from them. You know, once you stay away, like I just been out for 8 weeks, and that's a long time. I mean, within 8 weeks, I only saw them like for a week out of the 8 weeks. And right now, I just got to go out there and pay them dues until I can be able to say go out and work 3 to 4 weeks and come back and spend some time home. But I think I know when I had enough, though. I just make sure I come back home, you know.
What are your future plans for your music and your band?
My future plans is to go out there and really work hard at it and try and let people know that we have a lot of talent right here in Baton Rouge, and come back and produce and put albums out on a lot of the Baton Rouge or just Louisiana music. And right now I just produced the album on Lazy Lester, Bob Greenlee and I. We're doing my dad's new album after he get on up and Feel Better. And let's see, we got Lazy Lester and my father, and right now I'm getting ready to do Guitar Kelly. And then we're gonna produce Rufus Thomas after we get back from Europe.
So what happens when you just can't do it anymore?
That's when the Undertaker gonna bury me. That's when they start singing, "Oh, when the sweet." That's about it. I think I always do this. I'm sure I will. I will. I mean, you know, it just feel a part of me. I can't see myself. You know, Muddy Waters did a concert almost like 2 weeks before he went in, you know? It's like he's hung in there. I mean, I remember the times he was like in pain, but he would sit on the stool and play the guitar in pain, but he still sat up there and sang the blues. And I think that was the only thing that eased a lot of the pain on him, you know, by doing that. So I'll be doing this for the rest of my life.
One more question. When you write the lyrics to your songs, where do those lyrics come from? For example, "Don't dip in my business," or...
From nosy people. Yeah. You know, when you come from a small town, this is what it is. You come from a small town, you know, they don't have that much to talk about. So everybody just talking about each other's business, I find. So I was thinking about it one day because I was just sitting around and I heard this conversation on the phone, and they were sitting there talking about somebody else, and they come up with the "Don't dip." I said, that's what I'm going to do, write a song about don't dip in my business. So it works. I mean, it worked real good on stage, and people relate to it, but I just pick it up from hearing things. Like the other song I have on "Caught You Backdoor Man," sneaking out my front door, that one. It's just, I don't experience that. I hope I don't ever experience that. But, and the cost of living, you know, like if the good law don't get you, the cost of living will. I got that one on. I guess you could relate to that one, huh? Okay. No, but we just pick it up from just being around and experiencing a lot. Like I've experienced a lot within the last 10 years.
Would you say that your music is getting better as you get older?
Yeah, much better. I think that's the only reason alligators and a lot of the companies are interested, because I wasn't like ready to pick from the tree. I thought I was back in like 10 years ago. So I used to get real upset when they turned my tapes back in and say, "Well, you sound good, but I'm sorry, I can't help you." And I go, "Oh, well, I'll just keep trying." So I just hung in there. But I find out the older I get, the more mature my music gets as well. So I don't know what might happen when I turn 60 and 70 and 80.
Oh, shucks, I got the blues now. Come on, let's put our hands together. Everybody put your hands together now. One big party. Are y'all ready to help me out before we say goodnight? We thank you very much and we love you. Thank you. Thank you, y'all. Ow! Now y'all help me out. Let's sing this together. Here we go. Here we go now. I'm going to New York. I'm going to New York. I got to get to New York. I'm going to New York. I'm going to New York. Lord, if I had no war. And last time, a good night, y'all. Everybody help me out. I'm going to New York. I'm going to New York. I got to get to New York. I'm going to New York. I'm going to New York. Oh, if I had no war.
Well, that's it for this week's program. Be sure to join us next week for another edition of Folks. Bye-bye.
Got me running. You got me high. You got me running high and creeping. Anywhere you want. Oh, oh. Y'all got the blues? Yeah. All right. You got me doing what you want. Doing what you want.
Funding for the production of Folks is made possible in part by a grant from Union National Life Insurance, serving Louisiana and the South since 1926, a family-managed corporation providing whole life insurance.